I'm gonna go up to the page and see what it looks like.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's my cut. Oh, that's my jam. Y'all groove get them sounds right there.
All right, come on, here we go, y'all.
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing a little shake and shimmy in the background back here. Y'all can't see it.
Little DC vibe. Come on. You know, that's my hometown.
I know. I'm doing a Harlem shake and brushing my shoulders out, but can't nobody see it yet. Still got the banner up. Oh,
what's up, everybody? What's going on? Three black guys up in the house, y'all. I play a little DC groove. You know, that's my hometown. So, you know, I gotta give it up for the DC folks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. Northwest DC, 15th Street.
Oh, man, not 15th Street.
Hey, Al, let me tell you like this, bro. We went back up to DC a few years ago, and it don't even look. His street ain't even the same street. Gentrification.
Right. Hey, I remember the time you guys came to open up for what's her name?
Clark.
Yeah, it's totally different.
We tried to go down Steve Street and turn down Steve Street. He was like,
where am I?
Right.
Yeah, right. White people walking dogs. It was like, what's
right?
Wow. Yeah, we went down North Capitol Street about 9 o'clock at night on North Capitol Street.
Yeah.
I saw a white lady walking her dog out. I'm like, what in the world is this?
Tell me, man, it's my I have a cousin that lives he bought a place over in on the south side. I can't think of the name of near the Navy
oh yeah.
Over by that area.
Yeah.
He bought it like right when it was still kind of, you know, and he said, yeah, maybe about 2 years ago, he was like, man, my neighbors are Asian. I was like, what?
We talking about this chocolate city.
Right.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, man.
Not anymore. Anyway, guys, we just reminiscing a little bit. Welcome to the Three Black Guys show. Once again, it's past 8:30. So, you know, we hear it. Put your threes up. Put your threes up. And we missing one original black guy. He's coming. But we got a special guest tonight, man. Mr. Al McBride, Maximum Life Coach, man. He's going to give us some ideas. He's going to give us something to motivate us. He's going to talk about some mental health issues, man. And we know we need that kind of stuff on tonight.
Yes, sir.
What?
Yeah, we need, especially coming off of the week we've had this week.
Yeah.
You know, we went
this has been a week.
This has been a week. We went earlier. We went went live earlier this week. Y'all, a lot of y'all tuned in for what went on, man. And you know, in light of that show, we needed to have something a bit more, you know, light, airy, helpful. So we got my boy on. Stevie, I just interrupted you. Are you tossing it to me?
Well, I was gonna try. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's toss it in. Let's go ahead, man. Do your thing.
No. Because I wanted to, you know, set my boy up.
Set him up, man. Set him up, and then I want to go into. You know, we're gonna talk about. You know, he know what this is. It's barbershop talk. We up in here talking about black folks' problems.
You know, we have a good.
We have a few issues. That's all.
We have been friends for since college. We've been friends for a long time. And let me tell you this: the test of friendship. The test of friendship is I don't have to talk to you every day, but when I talk to you, now we can go 2-3 months without talking to each other, 6 months sometimes, because this brother's schedule is super busy. But when
not right now, right?
Right, not right now. I think we talk more now than we've talked in a long time, man. But we always pick up right where we left off, man. It's like no time has passed, and we just fall right back into the groove. That's what I call friendship. So we've been friends for a long time, and I can call him a friend. So we've been through some things together. Wow, we've been through some things together.
Hold on. So Al, that means you know where all the bones is buried.
Hey man,
listen.
Right, that's my boy. I don't know what you're talking about. Right. So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we have my good friend Al McBride here, and he's gonna give us some tips on you know, things that we can do during this pandemic and just during this time period, because for us, it's been a stressful time with everything that's been going on in the news as black people. You know, just some things we can do to kind of help stabilize our mental health and deal with the pressures of life in this situation. So you want to turn it over to Al, Steve, for a minute? What just doing?
So let's talk about before you know, we want to give some information about what's going on. We've lost some people today, man. Well, this weekend lost Little Richard. Yeah. We've lost Betty Wright. Is that right?
We lost
today, and we lost a third, and I can't. His name is escaping me right now.
Andre Harrell.
Andre
Harrell.
And I thought I might have saw something about Cuba Gooden's dad died today.
I don't tell me that. Don't tell me
because he was a part of another group that was a singing group.
Everybody plays the
right.
Sometimes.
Hey, take that over, Mario.
But you know they always we go in. Well, look at here.
What's good? What's happening? What's happening?
Well.
Man.
Hey, Al, this is the guy that we say he lives in Area 51. You know, just kind of don't know.
Right, don't know, no zip code.
No zip code, no nothing. You know, he disappears and you can't get in touch with him. And,
right.
But I'm always here though.
Right.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, Chris?
It's all well. We're talking to Mr. Al McBride. Steve was setting this thing up for us as you came in. So I'm pitching it back to you, Steve.
All right. So, like I said, we've had a couple of big deaths here lately with Mr. Harrell. Cuba Gooden's dad passed away today. Betty Wright passed away, and Little Richard. So we've lost some heavy hitters in the music industry and entertainment. So y'all just say a prayer for those families, man, that have been affected. I want to say hello to Miss Vicky. She's watching, and a couple other people. Please put your name and like and share this so we know who you are, where you're coming from. We sure do appreciate it. So, Mr. McBride, man, give us a rundown. Do we need to talk about what's going on in Georgia first, guys, or we won't say that right back?
Nah, go ahead and give it up front.
Okay, so there have been some arrests made. If you guys are sitting under a rock, a young black man was jogging in Georgia where he was gunned down by two white men. It has now come to light that the two gentlemen, well, I can't say gentlemen, the father and son. I can't say what I want to say because I want to say something else, and I got to say this: the views that are shared on this show are for these gentlemen only, and nothing and no company that they may represent. All right, so the two gentlemen, the father and son, that killed this young man. We now find out what might have been a part of the white supremacy, part of the KKK or whatever have you. We also know that they've been arrested along with the guy that shot the video. Mr. Brian has been arrested. The bad part about this is that I think what was the DA, Jackie Johnson, I believe was her name. She blocked the sheriffs or the cops from arresting the two at first, and we're now everything. Huh?
The first DA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
She blocked the arrest of those two gentlemen, and I think she's going to be getting in trouble now because she blocked that arrest because the father used to work with her. So now that's just kind of the rundown of what's going on. Mr. Al, you want to say anything about that before we get started? Because we're talking about Georgia and the murder of a black man while jogging.
You know, one thing I would like to say about that is that I caught a clip of your show a couple days ago, and one of the things I really think as a community, we need to pay attention more to stories like this. I know I think it was you, James, we talked about, one of you guys had mentioned, how we relied on the church, the black church so much to get our news, to kind of spread it out. It's the same thing, how we cope, to kind of communicate, in a way where, like, right now we're able, like Mario said in the preview, how we're able to check in on each other now. We need to start doing that more because, like, James, I think one of you guys said, Mario said, you're thinking about your son every time he goes out. It's like our wives, they're thinking about us every time we go out. Right. So it's definitely, there's no reason now to not be able to communicate with each other on a more regular basis. And we're being forced to do that, not only because of the pandemic, but of course of what's going on in our community.
Right.
Right. All right. So Mr. McBride, Mr. Al Boogie, can you can you just explain to us what do you do as a maximum life coach, and what do you offer, and just kind of introduce yourself of what all things you might have in your bag, Doc.
Okay. Well, thank you. Again, thanks to you, Steve, Mario, James, for inviting me. I appreciate it. Maximum life coaching. I mean, it started about 2007, 2008, where I was kind of in when Mario had said, we all go through things in life. I was going through a transition and I needed help. And I went through my pastor at that particular time in Maryland to get through a divorce. Mm-hmm. And then I got pointed over to a coach within the church. And then I got pointed through someone else that I worked with in the past. And for me, it was almost like, Lord, if you get me through this, I promise I'll help others. If you get me out of this. Mm. And it was that, okay, maybe not everybody has had that promise. Lord, let me get home from the club tonight, because I had it wasn't the same kind of conversation, but it was as serious. Like, please, if I get out of this divorce, I got my 2 feet, my 2 arms. If I go through this counseling for, however long it takes, I promise to pay it for. Mm. And of course, I got through it, thank God. But then it's like it was time to pay it forward. And at first, I was like, I'm not going to do it right now. But it's, kept getting tapped like on the shoulder by people.
Right.
And because they would ask me, hey, man, how you doing? And it's like, so I started to, mentor other people that I worked with. And then it kind of went into a place where I started to do it along with my regular job. And it, for me, it's all about being able to give back in a way. A, I promised that I would do this, but B, to kind of see if I can do it, anybody else can do it.
Right.
And the biggest thing I took away before I started doing this was the commitment, and also remembering that, first of all, we don't go to counseling anyway.
Right.
And it doesn't, and even in the situations that I was in, the people that I was around, what you doing going to counseling for? So that's the part in the way I do things. I kind of take that. Look, I'm a coach. I'm not a doctor. I don't give you medicine, but I help encourage. I help give you tools, just like any other coach, football, any sports coach, any coach that's coaching you and doing your homework, whatever.
Right.
Do all those things, and I try to give you a roadmap the way I do roadmaps for clients for IT corporations. I give you a roadmap that you have to follow, similar to what I had to follow, and it's all based on Christian principles.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Doc, not putting any of your business out there, but I watched your transition when things were happening. And Doc, to see where you are now versus what you were going through at that time, it took a particular set of skills, to get through that thing, man. And to watch, I saw that transition with I saw the change, you know what I'm saying? And Doc, I did a lot of praying for you during those times, Doc.
And I felt it too, man. I felt it.
A lot of prayer doing, but to see you come out on the other side of that with a useful set of skills that you now can turn around and pass on to people, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So you alluded to something a second ago, Al, about the stigma of asking or looking for help in the Black community. What is there? What am I trying to ask here? Why do we have? First, let's deal with this. Why do you think it's such a stigma in dealing with mental health, and when you're dealing with something, going to ask somebody, and even some Black men? I'll be honest with you, when they have problems with their marriages, they refuse to go get counseling. They refuse to go talk to their pastor. Why is there a stigma in the Black community for looking for help? And then two, how can we get Black men past it and just be Black people, period? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think, Steve, one of the big things related to the stigma is our culture. I think a lot of times, we were brought up, and our parents were brought up, you got to figure it out yourself. You got to, hey, look, I walked 20 miles to school, and I had 2 book bags. I had to carry my sister's book bag. Figure it out. You'll get through. And so even when we get to a point we needed help, I don't know about you guys, but for me, hey, where is Lincoln, Nebraska? Look it up.
Right.
So, I think in our communities, getting help for the simple things was difficult, just from our family and everybody working and doing things like that. But when it comes to something serious like your mental health, it's like, to be honest, for me, it was more like, hey, well, baby, just pray about it and it'll be all right. But, the things that we were experiencing, it was like, and then Mario kind of alluded to it, it's like, you know, I need somebody to help me get past the prayer, or help me get past those steps.
Yeah.
And I think from what happened for me, especially within my situation and at that period, telling someone that you were having a problem, was already another stigma.
Yeah. Right.
2, how they looked at you once you said you educated, you seem to be smart. Now just go to work, get up, put your shirt back on the same way. But it wasn't helping.
Yeah.
And so I think the stigma for a lot of reasons, our community, how we've been brought up, and then getting for us and for men to be able to want to look back, for a lot of times I wasn't sure even going to counseling, with that person was going to be beneficial to us because of the stigma, of having to say I'm going to counseling today. And then B, just how it brings out your dirt. It brings out the dirt that a lot of times when we were growing up, we didn't know our families were going through things until we got older.
Yeah.
And then more and more, I went through the process. I started to see that the reason why we don't go to a lot of counseling, because we never want to talk about what happened in 78.
Wow.
Yeah.
We always want to talk about 2021, man, I'm graduating from Morehouse. I'm gonna have a Lamborghini, but you're not gonna talk about when you were taking the bus. Like you don't want to learn from the fact that what happened to get you there. And a lot of times it's a lot of pain. Yeah. When that pain gets locked in, we just put it in the closet. And like we talked about earlier, those bones, they get bigger, and then you need another closet.
Right.
And counseling, you got to go get one of those bones.
Yeah.
And they make you bring it to counseling.
Right.
You're like, I thought I got over this, that situation that happened when I was a freshman or whatever, or when I got beat up or whatever. I want to talk about that, but that helps you get to the next step. And as an African American, we don't talk about slavery. We don't want to talk about what happened with King, in the 50s and 60s, because we think we're past that, but we're not. And those things go into how we build up to get better, to learn from our mistakes, learn how to heal, because a lot of times we haven't healed. And in all honesty, in that situation that I was sharing about, you have to really want it to be able. And from a coaching perspective, I can tell I've been doing this too long to be able to see when people are serious or they just want to kind of like, well, I told somebody. So,
Okay. Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is going to a life coach an alternative for seeing a therapist, or can it be substituted for the other, or is it something you should do in conjunction with?
You should be doing it in conjunction. Like, for example, in my situation, going through a divorce, it was mandated I had to go to counseling. But then I needed also, because the counseling part is interesting because it's talking about your past and how the things went wrong, and it's helping you cope, but it's not really telling you how to be successful or get over that hump.
Wow.
So the coaching is, I was thankful that particular practice had a coach, so I would work with the counselor, and then I would alternate weeks, 1 week with the counselor, the next week with the coach, to kind of talk about what I learned from the week with the counselor, and then kind of build a plan of, okay, so I won't feel like I'm just down in the dumps all the time. Well, I just filled out what happened last year. I failed at this, I failed at that, without putting some kind of structure on how to move forward.
That's good. So the coach actually gives you a tangible plan, day to day, week to week, month to month, on how to put the situation back together.
Yeah.
Got you. That's good.
I do want to follow up. You had spoke about divorce, and I know during this pandemic, man, marriage. There's gonna be two busy people out there.
Yeah, man.
The doctor and the lawyer.
Right.
They're gonna be some babies, and they're gonna be some divorce.
Man.
So I went through a divorce. I think we kind of went through a divorce about the same time. Because I think Mario told me that, man. And my first divorce was devastating, dude. If I didn't have good pastors and good friends like Mario around me, man, I would have absolutely lost it, dude. You know what I mean? Mario called and checked up on me. But I know.
Hey,
Mrs. McBride.
How are you?
This is Michelle McBride. How are you, man?
Oh, this is Wakanda.
Man, that's a
I
mess.
just came to say hi.
Hey,
good to see you, sis.
So, would you have any advice for that couple that might be? Can you give any life coaching skills to those couples right now that are struggling because they are spending 24 hours together in the house? Might not be working, or they have to work from home. What can you say to those people, man, that are struggling and thinking about divorce?
Yeah,
and then those that are really are lonely during this pandemic, man. Can you advice?
Well, one of the first things to kind of go right in with the divorce piece, I think the biggest loneliness that people can have right now is when you're two people are together and it feel like you're just by yourself. Yeah. So some people may be feeling that to want to, go to a divorce. I know a little vaguely about, Steve, when you were going through it, but I know it was kind of similar, being devastating. The D word is, I forgot what my last life coach, what she had told me. One of the things she said, divorce is that last resort of like, you have no more ropes. You have no more bus passes. You have no more ropes, and you have no plane ticket to get back or get over, where you at right now.
Wow.
And because I was at a point where I had to make a decision if I'm going to go through with it or I'm going to try one more time.
Right.
One more time to try to make it happen. But she laid things out for me, to kind of put it on a wall to see if it's really that deep. And what people have to realize, divorce, people, you see the commercials all the time, divorce court, just file. It ain't that simple, first and foremost.
Right.
It's easier to work on your relationship in the hard times than it is to go, okay, it's easy to make the phone call. It's definitely easy when you got to take some money out of your 401k or whatever to pay for the retainer fees.
Yeah.
But after that, it goes straight downhill. And if people don't understand that, how hard it is, and then if you have children involved in jobs and homes, for me, I didn't understand none of that until I'm looking at deeds. I'm looking at wait a minute, what? I didn't know what now. And so people have to realize it's easy to go to counseling. It's easier to go through coaching to hash it out, to try to work it out before you just say, you know what, I'm going downtown. I'm calling somebody, because I promise you, if I was a divorce attorney today, I would be on that, because it's going, like you said, it's going to be so many people just panicking and calling, and they're going to take your money.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do. And I think it's more into what really the relationship. If there's really no relationship at the beginning, this pandemic is kind of showing how you are. And, yeah, and if you didn't have one coming before the pandemic, you never had one.
Wow.
So what can they do? I mean, because I know, man, pressure reveals all kind of cracks. Pressure, hey, just like the grape, man. The grape, you push your grape out, dude, you ain't getting nothing but juice, baby.
Pressure,
sweet or sour.
Right. So, is there anything that maybe somebody's in a relationship, man, and this COVID, this pandemic, can they do? Can they say something to their spouse or try something? It might be too far gone, but is there something that you can tell somebody that might need some help with that might be going through something like that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely what I would do, especially after coming together. And I think one of the basic things I learned is if you're not able to come together from a Christian standpoint in prayer, just to kind of lay it out to God to help shape you, but then do some things that force you guys to communicate. So, for example, I was forced into journaling in about 2007 to write down my pain.
You said journaling.
Journaling. Okay. And so I would kind of write down my pain points, and I would share it with that other person, and then I would ball it up and be like, okay, I hashed it. But if it's too serious of a pain point that you need to get help, like it could be anything, any addictions or alcohol, and that's when the counselor has to come in, because that's when a lot of times it could be something that happened before you, and as when you get into like this pandemic is forcing us to learn how to cohabitate, learn that hey, I can't go to work. I can't play Xbox when it's 5 o'clock anymore because everybody's home. So I mean, just your whole schedule changed to a way that you're forced to rely on each other.
Man, just kick him out. Just kick him out the room. Look like I'm about to play. No, I'm kidding.
Well, you see, come on in, but just come. Hey, so so I really think that you can. You can't give the impression that it's going to be hopeless, but it's not. I think at the end of the day, you're going to have those times. Hey, you might have to take a 1-day, 2-day retreat just to hash some stuff out amongst you, and then follow it up with some counseling. I mean, again, I know, like you said, Steve, the church was really my rock in those 2 years, because I went to work, went to church, saw my kids, went to work, went to church for counseling. Then I went to a doctor for I even saw a shrink, and that was
wait a minute. A black man went to a shrink?
Hey, hey, it was keep my job. I had a government job, so I had to clearance. They wanted me to go see a shrink, and I was like, okay, because they wanted to make sure that I wasn't gonna do something, off the cuff.
Right.
So, and I did that, and when I did that, I was like, okay, you know what? I am not crazy. So that's the part where I went back to my coach and was like, they tried to make it seem like I got screws loose, but really the relationship was bad. The communication was bad. And so all the things that my coach was pointing out and the counselor was pointing out, they were aligning. And then the psychiatrist kind of dug into that little Dr. Freud kind of just so when you think about happy things, what do you? I'm like, okay, wait, what? Like, not arguing. He's like, okay, wait a minute. No, for real. So what do you want to? What do you want to achieve? Not fighting. Okay. I mean, so what do you mean?
Right.
Not fighting. I mean, and so it's like that's when I realized I'm not crazy. But with the coaching and the counseling together, how that seeing that shrink about 2 or 3 times made me see, oh, I'm not crazy. I just know that these things aren't aligned the way that they should be. And a lot of times what we may see within the pandemic, the stress of the world, the stress of having to wear a mask. I haven't been able to buy bread for 3 days, and I got 2 kids and a wife. All those things may be too much for some people. But if that's your biggest thing, you shouldn't get a divorce. So you gotta kind of see, you gotta get professional counseling help to the way of those things. Because a lot of times if you go in there irrational and pay your $5,000 retainer to get a divorce, they will gladly take your $5K. And if you change their mind, they'll be like, okay, well, work it out.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
We're gonna keep this $5,000 though. You know.
Yeah, I already spent it. Yeah.
I want to go ahead. You got something?
Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to shift gears just a little bit, man, because during the pandemic, man, I know a lot of people are dealing with that stress you were just talking about, man. And I know a lot of it comes from fear and anxiety about, like you said, the health issue about catching the corona. So is there anything that you can suggest, man, about somebody who may be going through some stressing severely and maybe even moving into depression because maybe they've lost their job or maybe because they're really concerned about their health issues about catching it? Is there anything that we can deal with stress and depression or keeping from being depressed in this pandemic era?
Yeah, one of the things I would recommend for a lot of us, in all honesty, reduce our TV time.
Wow.
I hate to say it as a almost 50-year-old, but the less back in the day, less TV to do your homework, but no, less TV of the rhetoric that will get you all, versus reading a book or playing music or whatever, to kind of keep you focused and keep you in a mindset, because it's really about your mindset. Yeah. And get you through it. I mean, because independently from your family, your responsibilities, over 40, 50 million people are out of work or furloughed. So you're not alone. So you gotta be able to make a more holistic look at it. Like, look, I'm not the only one struggling, but at the same time, how you create your own coping environment. Second, I've made a pact to text or call 5 people a day that I haven't talked to in over 5 months.
Wow.
Text, call 5 people that you haven't talked to
in 5 months.
In 5 months. And
just say, hey, like, how you doing? Just thinking about you. And just putting that energy into something a little more positive. Yes. I've had a couple conversations based on, hey, bro, what's going on? Hey, man, hey, look, I was just texting you. I wasn't expecting you to come back. Okay. But, hey, I'm on a call. But no, to kind of take that negative feeling of, man, it's only 2:00 and I'm still or whatever. And also, definitely look at your family. Your family, our elders, our seniors, our old aunties, our older cousins. Check in on them, because at the end of the day, this is that time I think God's kind of put on us to look. Like Mario said in the early on, we've been so busy, but we're really not now. I mean, there's only about several million people that's just extremely busy. They're the doctors, they're the police officers, they're the the frontline workers at the stores.
Yeah.
So we are being put in a situation where we got to start reaching to each other. And to kind of piggyback on what you guys were talking about the other day, start reaching out to people within your community that may have some, something going on to kind of keep you invigorated and, any causes that may, be of interest to you.
Sounds like just, like you said, turning off the TV and diverting your focus to something else more positive.
Turning off the TV.
I mean,
well, this is kind of the perfect time for people to develop hobbies. I mean, you got to keep yourself busy, man. I mean, that's just, I mean, you're off work, you ain't got nothing to do. I mean, you got to find some sort of outlet or something to keep yourself busy, do something. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people started making masks really as just a way to get them doing something.
Right.
Because just sitting at home idle will drive you crazy.
It will.
And just sitting about thinking about every bill that's due. Every time you cut on a light switch, you're worried about, man, I got to pay that bill. Turn on the water faucet, man, there go that bill. You know what I'm saying? And so you just sit around. That stuff will drive you crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you have to find something, like I've told people, man, I don't care what it is. If you got to start collecting pencils, I mean, whatever you need to do to take your mind off of what's going on right now, that's what you need to do. And I've heard from people who've just asked me, like, man, what can we do? Like, what is there to do? Well, what do you have in your house? What's in your hand? What have you been wanting to do that maybe your job prevented you from doing before? And now you got the time to do it.
Yep.
This is the time for that. Yes, your bills are due, but they're gonna be due when you get your job back. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, you know what I'm saying? Find whatever that is, and do it, and just have fun while you can. I mean, because eventually everybody gonna go back to work, man, and it's gonna be that same monotonous routine every day that you were going through. Have some fun, man. Enjoy yourself the best way you can. If it ain't nothing but an hour or 2 hours out the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just step away for a minute from the norm. Find something you like doing. Like you said, man, cut the TV off. You know what I'm saying? And just, like, I have to sometimes even pull myself away from this computer. Because Steve will tell you, man, I sit here and edit videos and stuff all night long.
Right.
And so
you need your beauty rest. I mean, you really need your beauty rest. I mean, really need.
Bro, listen here. The barbershop finna open back up, man. I'm finna get back right. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna get back right. It's a little bushy over here, but we finna get right.
Let me interject for a second. James, you said we're about to get back to work, get back to busy schedules, this and another. I have my next door neighbor. He and I were having a conversation, and he said he's in his early to mid 30s. They just had a little baby, and he said he's really learned through this pandemic what's important and what's not important. He said he would work from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, and he had to go back into work for a meeting for the first time since the pandemic started sometime last week. And he said it felt, he was just itching to get out of there. He said, but he said he made up in his mind then, and he told his supervisor, he said, look, I'm not going to be able to, if I need to start looking for another job, I will. He said, but I can't stay here now from 8 to 8. He said, I can't do that anymore. I'm going to start pulling out about 5:30. And he works in a particular type of sales.
Yeah.
So you know how driven salespeople can be.
Yeah.
But he said, if I need to start looking for another job, please tell me now, and I will. He said, but I can't work from 12-hour days anymore. That's
I was on a podcast. I was on a cybersecurity leadership podcast about a week ago, And one of the things that they were sharing is that the work culture is going to change tremendously once the pandemic starts to really subside. And the biggest issue is so many people that are working from home in a temporary format are not going to want to come back to that grind. But they still want to, hey, I figured out a perfect system. I bought another desk. I bought 2 monitors. I'm good. I'm functioning. And so what's going to happen, there's going to be a lot of people shifting if they don't get their way and being able to kind of, hey, I want to work out from home 6 months out of a year or whatever, because I see my kids, I see my wife, I don't have to fly. And, you know, and I was talking with a former colleague of mine working from home in a temporary format or not going to. And I really, when I was talking to that former colleague, he really shed some light on the fact that, you know, we really don't have to travel anymore you know, to be successful. And it's like, you're right. And I think, again, our mind is going to have to work that out as well. So it's easier said than done, but it's going to have to take those baby steps of, okay, like what you were saying is that, you know, I really, you know, don't want to be here until 8 o'clock at night. I want to be here till 3:30, 4 o'clock because I value being at home now.
Mm-hmm. Right. And if what I was telling him, this pandemic, if nothing else, has shown us that can be done now. Right. You know what I mean? Right. We don't have to let employers know that it can be done.
Right.
You know, we don't have to stay at work all day, or we can do work from home. That has shown us that we can do it. The things that we thought that we could not do before because it would hurt bottom line and this, that, and the other, we have just been shown by this pandemic that I can do this a different way and still be productive. You understand? So,
yeah.
My anxiety has gotten what is that Tracy said?
Tracy said my anxiety has gotten bad since all this. That's why I started doing the makeup. Yeah.
Well, that's just it. I mean, that's the perfect thing. You found something to do to help take your mind off of what was going on. I mean, that's exactly what has to happen. I think, just for me to just, you know what I'm saying, have something to do. I mean, I'm still working, but not in the same way I was. So, you know, I'm around here shooting videos of Lysol cans and hand sanitizer bottles. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing anything out here, you know, just to like I'm making sexy videos with hand sanitizer bottles and toilet tissue. You know what I'm saying? So just anything, man. Like because I found myself just sitting idle, like because I would go to work and then come home and like there's nothing to do. I can't go nowhere. There's no stores to go to. I can't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, you know, after about a week of that, man, I found myself like, okay, I got to figure out something to do. So I grabbed my camera and just got creative with it. And
start shooting production. Cleaning products. Okay, all right.
I mean, just to have something to do, because that took up some time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That took up some time. That took, you know, a half a day to do. So I was able for that half a day to not think about what was going on and just focus on what I was doing in the moment. And I believe, man, that's what it's gonna take for a lot of people. Even though things are starting to open back up a little bit now, I think we're still a good ways off from it being back to normal. Yeah. It's and seeing what Tracy just said, it's the exact same thing. Like I didn't go nowhere for real either, but it's the fact that now there's nothing open for me to go. You know, so now I'm like, man, I want to go to Ross, or I want to go. I don't go to them places. I don't go in places at all. But riding by and they closed, Man, I want to go across. Man, I want to go into that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you know, it's so I found myself at home in the backyard, you know, making super Lysol. So, you know.
And if y'all haven't, let me say this: if y'all haven't seen, go to Daylight YouTube page, and you'll be able to see, and we might show it again here. The Lysol, was it superhero Lysol?
Super Lysol, yes.
Super Lysol, and then there's the sexy toilet paper video.
Yeah, the sexiest video of 2020, baby.
When toilet paper was flying off the shelf at the beginning of this pandemic, it became sexy.
Hey, James, let me hold some of that Lysol, bro.
Man, that was an empty can. That's the only way I was able to get him to fly.
They empty that thing out.
So I want to touch on fear, man. I want to touch on fear just a little bit, because fear, and I love the acronym that I've heard about. I don't know if everybody else has. Is false evidence appearing real.
Real, yep.
Is an acronym that's often said, man, and oftentimes we deal with things and we make up things in our mind of what could happen, relative that it might not happen at all.
Right.
And so, can you speak to dealing with the fear of joblessness? Because a lot of people are losing their jobs. There's a lot of people getting furloughed. Matter of fact, man, they cut my check 4%, man. You know, I mean, you know, and so I'm like, okay. I mean, that's not a huge, but it is a hit nevertheless. Is there anything you can say that somebody might be dealing with fear of their job? And then check this, guys, and I want us to talk about this before we get out of here. And that's fear in racial, the uptick in racial crime. Because not only as the black race having to deal with a pandemic that is hitting us disproportionately. I thought I was going to get it out there. Disproportionately, that is hitting us really hard. We got a sickness that's hitting us. We're losing. Some of us are losing our jobs because it is the minimum wage workers or the hard workers that are losing their jobs. And now we got to deal with what we've been dealing with for years: police brutalities, white supremacy, and we got a lot going on in the black race right now, man. We're facing a lot, and we're dealing with a lot of fear. Do you want to speak to any of that?
First, as it relates to the fear, I think what's happened, kind of what we were talking about a little while ago, you know, everyone being at home, we're kind of seeing it a lot more because of all, you know, there's not a person, a neighbor or a person down the street that's not dealing with something similar to what you're dealing with. So it's almost like it's way bigger than normal, right? So I think the biggest thing that we can do is try to realize that, again, we're not going through this alone, if you know, but at the same time, staying busy, staying active, and also looking at some of the things that you know, if you're a cook or a chef, or I talked to a friend of mine the other day. He's a cook and a chef. He's thinking about opening up his own spot, you know, once everything, gets back to normal. And I think that's, you know, kind of channeling into another direction, not waiting on your hotel job or not waiting on your job to come to you. Kind of, in a way, we have time now to kind of think about, you know, strategically, what can we do when it's okay for us to get back out there? And, you know, like we were saying a few minutes ago, am I going back to my regular job? Am I going to work from home? Or, you know, kind of this is a global reset. We're all being forced to think, okay, I'm going here. Like I was saying a moment ago, I don't have to be at the airport that much anymore. I mean, I'm good. I'll buy my miles. You know, because of what's going on with the pandemic. the fear of having to be out there that much for me is great. But at the same time, I know that I'm not going to let that overtake me. And I think that's the part where we, like, you know, with Steve, what you had said with the acronym, you know, fear is out there, but we have to be able to understand that we can all beat this because we're all going through it. It's not gonna shut us all down, but the way we're all shut down now, it makes us feel that way.
Yeah. I know a few people who deal with anxiety issues, and they just said when I was talking to them that it's the fear of dying, it's the fear of whatever the worst thing that could happen would happen, and we all know a lot of times that's not the case. If you go ahead and push through your initial fear, you'll find out that it's not as severe as you think it is. Your mind is telling you, you know, the worst is going to happen right now. But if you just push to the other side of that, you'll see, okay. All right, I'm okay. All right, it's good.
And that's the thing, as a coach, one of the things I try to help people understand, hey, I got laid off, hey, I got fired, or I'm trying to get promoted or whatever. You know, we all have obstacles in our way to get us to where we're trying to go, but we still have to have plan to go this way, plan to go that way, plan to, you know, to keep it moving. I think right now, all of us are trying to get back to work.
Right.
All of us are trying to get back to what we just left, or what we were just you know, cut from or laid off from or whatever, until it's time to go back. But right now, it's an automatic reset for almost everyone. Even some medical people I know, they're thinking about when this is all over, I'm just going to work at a small municipal hospital, not at a hospital in New York, because of the added stress of having to deal with, you know, everything that's going on. And I think a lot of us can take this time to really push through the fear, because the fear is just temporary because of what's being affected to us all.
Yeah. I want to go back right quick, man, with James. Yeah. He said, you know, take this time to learn a new skill, man. A lot of us who are working, I just want to offer just a little bit of advice. I don't know a lot of things, but if you get up on your grind with your hustle can become your job.
Come on, boy.
I'll say that one more time, man. If you're fearful about your job, if you work on your hustle now, your hustle could be your job. You will be an entrepreneur, and then you could be able to sell and do whatever you do, and not have to worry about a job. Because, you know, all we hear at the Three Black Guys show, man, we want y'all to be entrepreneurs. We want you to have your own, and you don't have to worry about nobody else. You know what I'm saying? James, you got anything you want to say, man?
Well, just, you know, to touch on the fear aspect of things, man. I mean, I lived in fear for years. Y'all know my story. I was homeless and everything. And so when I started to get back on track and begin to put things back together, the fear of losing it again really had me all kind of boxed up. And because I'm like, I've had this stuff before and I lost it, and I've had it before and I've lost it. So now there was a fear that, and I think, Steve, you know this, like, I didn't want nothing. Like, I didn't want nothing, period, because I had that fear of losing. So what I did, though, is that I let the fear motivate me.
Right.
So the fear pushed me to drive harder and to do what I needed to do so I could start my businesses and get my businesses going and get them self-sustaining to where it decreased that fear of losing.
Right.
It decreased that fear that, okay, all right, I can go out and buy a car now. I can go out, you know, and start looking for a house now, because I'm at a certain point to where the fear has taken a back seat. Now, I can admit that there you know, I always think about the past, and always that time in my life will pop up, and it's like, man, because I ended up in the situation by my own fault. Like it wasn't nobody else's fault. It wasn't drugs. It wasn't alcohol. It was me being stupid with money. So, to train myself to be better with money, for one, and then to try to take that fear and flip it. Because I think it's hard to not be in fear when your reality is saying something. You know what I'm saying? It makes it hard to not be fearful. Right. And so I tell people, take it and let it push you. Like you just said, Steve, if you're fearful about losing your job or not working, then let that fear push you to start your business.
Yes.
The business you've been having on the back burner for all these years and you couldn't get to it because you was too busy working that job. But now is the time. And let that fear push you. Just think about, okay, if I lose my job, this is gonna let it push you. Yep. And that's what I was able to do. And then over the years, eventually it just took a back seat.
James, what you said was so poignant. Fear activates, there's a purpose for fear.
Right.
Fear activates a fight or flight response. Naturally. Right. That's the purpose of fear. It activates that fight or flight. You have to figure out, am I going to fight through this thing, or is it time for me to turn and run?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Fear you should look at fear as a motivator.
Yep.
Versus
that's
something
what I had to do.
And exactly. And that's it. It's there for a reason. It activates that fight or flight response. You can use fear to your advantage. And that's what I heard. That's what I heard through what you were saying. Use fear to your advantage. Fear should not cripple you to stand still. It should motivate you to either fight and move forward or retreat out of a situation that you can't handle right now.
Right.
Exactly.
And Tracy made a good point. You highlighted it earlier, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find it, put it back up there.
Which one?
The one she said about fear weakens the immune system.
Yeah, I was gonna go back to
stress, anxiety, and fear. Yeah, it is unhealthy.
Go back to that. You got it. But being in a constant state of fear, you deal with anxiety and stuff like that. Fear, stress, anxiety weakens the immune system.
Yeah. I mean, you get sick to your stomach, man. It makes you sick,
bro.
Stress, man, it makes you sick. It makes you feel bad. You know what I'm saying? It's our bodies. We weren't, and okay, we can get spiritual for a minute. The Bible says we hadn't been given a spirit of fear. So our bodies don't know how to react to it. It's an unnatural thing. That's why when you get scared, your body tenses up, you start shaking and sweating and all that, because your body, your whole self does not know how to respond to it. So you get an adverse reaction. So you get sick and you just all around feel bad when you're in fear. And I was there. But like Mario said, man, you have to use that and flip it and make you get up and say, like, if somebody is around who is not working now, this ought to show them, okay, this is what happens if that job goes out of business, or if they just decide to let me go. This is the state I'm going to be in. Oh no, I can't let that happen. I got to get up on my grind.
Yeah. My cousin Sheila just logged on a few minutes ago. She's an RN. I would love for her to have chimed in. I don't know if she's still watching, but I would love for her to hear her chime in and give her idea on how that works. But she's been an RN forever.
Really?
I would love to see what her perspective it would be. But that was good, James.
Well, my mother's watching, so I'm sure she would give us some dietary tips. I'm sure she will. So, well, we had an hour here, guys. I do want to start trying to wrap it up because we don't want to try to stay on too long. But Mr. Al, man, thank you for coming on with us, man. And once again, he is a life coach, man. What's up, Jay McMillian?
What up, cuz?
Want to just one more time, man. We talked about tonight. We talked about fear. We talked about stress. We talked about anxiety, man, and how to deal with that. We talked about, man, if you think about losing your job, man, use that fear to push you to move into what you're called to do. Or I'm sorry, I'm preachery. Moving to that thing that's going to make you happy, man. Moving to your own business. And Miss Erica's right. There are some people that have to go to work. Right. But some people are just gonna stretch out on what they believe and what the product that they're making and become a success in their own way. Right. So, Mr. I keep calling you Al, Mr. McBride. Al, one more time, man. Can you just go through about your life coaching? What do you offer, and any other parting thoughts you want to give us?
Sure. Thanks, Steve. Basically, what we kind of talked about, getting through that, that pressure point, that thing that gets you to the next, to the next level, to the next, over the hump, if you will. And so I help, help put, a roadmap together with you one-on-one to try to, put something in motion. So you can try to, if you want to start, you don't have the confidence to start your own business, or, kind of put those things and spell it out. Because I think one of the things we failed to do, from a thought process perspective, hey, I'm just going to go start my business tomorrow. And, but are you clearly, focusing on the right things right now? Do you want it like what Erica kind of said, do you have the means to like just drop everything? Do you have a family? So, the coaching part helps you kind of tame your ideas and your mindset, first of all, to make sure you're focusing. And then once that happens, I help you build a roadmap to try to get it done. But again, you're building the roadmap with me. And then once it's like, is this what you're trying to do? We try to nail it down, and then it's handed off to you.
Okay. What is that, Steven?
Oh, I didn't mean it. I was going to bring up some music. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Put it on Front Street. That was good, brother Al. That was good, brother Al.
Hey, thank you, fellas.
Al, like I said, Steve, I'm gonna leave the wrap up to you.
Okay. But do you have any last parting thoughts, Mr. Leonard?
I do. You kind of touched on some stuff.
Yeah.
Never got into it. Last week we did a show Wednesday about the death of the murder of Ahmaud was it Burberry? I'm having a brain.
Aubrey.
So and tensions got high on that show. Tensions got high, but as a result, I went out the next day and I had to deal with, I don't want to call it a fear, but it was an anger that I was dealing with all day or the next few days. I was just dealing, and I had to come down off of that thing. Right. I don't. What do you do? Just real quick. What do you do to deal with the stress of that? Because we never really did touch on it. You mentioned it, Steve.
Yeah,
touched on that.
But I want to mention that too, but also the anger that comes with it, because there are a lot of anger. I mean, Tracy was ready to get up on somebody. Like,
Lord have mercy.
Tracy was about
to yeah.
So more or less the stress of how about dealing with the anger that our culture is dealing with? Because man, I like Mario was saying, I felt a certain kind of way, man. I was doing my best to not lash out and not to totally alienate some of my friends, but I was hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was only on for maybe the last 10 minutes, and I was hot because again, you know, all of us are African American men. All of us have been through a situation before on numerous occasions, being stopped by, you know, police or being tracked in a store. I've been, you know, as I've shared with my wife a lot of times when I travel, I'm that guy that always get pulled over extra. Like, dude, I'm in a suit just like him. Like, what's the holdup? Right. And so that anxiety and that anger, especially right now, I think what I kind of shared early on, like making sure we start connecting with other people that's close to us, to make sure we just check in more often, because a lot of times, as you know, they've been arrested and everything. When I said turn off the TV, that's one of the main reasons, because we're going to keep hearing the good and the bad about it, and you know, we need to make sure we have ourselves in check first, so we won't go out and react in a certain way. Because I think the biggest fear of mine is retaliating in the wrong time. Right. You know, somebody cutting you off in a Target parking lot, and you just go in on them, and then they, you know, start something, and you're the one being just like how he was, you know, put in that position, or you're the one wearing an orange jumpsuit at night when they the one that hit you. Right. So kind of being able to, you know, try to channel that walk away approach, you know, that's the thing. I think for us, I think you guys talked about it a little bit, you know, how, you know, leaning on the church a little bit more to make sure that we kind of protect ourselves within our community. Because I think one of the other things we're going to have to start doing is how we did in the 50s and 60s, going places together, because having an accountability partner. Because again, hey, babe, I'm going to the store, so I'm going to this. You know, I'm going to this store and this store, so that's an hour, hour and a half. So if I'm not back in 3 hours, you know, right. So. I think
we need to get to, you know, just even going so far as policing our own communities. You know, because and people, man, they might want to jump down my throat with this, but right now the police are the aggressors in our communities in a lot of areas, and we need to start policing our own communities. And the police need to be called when somebody need to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's when we need, because right now, man, it's especially the younger folks, they're scared and they're mad, and they have no restraint. It was taboo when I was coming up to shoot at a police officer. Now,
right.
It's not taboo, huh?
Right.
These cats don't care. And it's because they're tired of being pushed. They're tired of being bullies. I know a lot of people have made the argument with me, well, if you're not doing anything, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Well, that's not my point. And the reason is because, okay, if a guy's on the corner selling drugs, that's not a death sentence. But a lot of times these cats don't end up in jail. They end up dead, shot by the police. You understand what I'm saying? So where if when they go and rob the meth house, Billy over there got 200 tons of meth, and he done shot through the doors and had on been on standoff for 3 hours, and they take him
alive.
No problems.
Alive.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that we need to do, man. As far as that goes, I was like Mario yesterday, man. Or last week, I was angry because I was thinking about my sons, and this kind of stuff. And it's not necessarily, Mario, I don't think it's necessarily a fear, man, but a caution. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a caution that rises up in you, like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me go talk to my son and make sure they understand what's happening and what they need to do to protect themselves.
Right.
I don't think that's a fear. It's actually common sense if you think about it.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you live in an area where there's wildfires all the time, it might be a good idea to have wildfire insurance.
Right.
You understand? It might be a good idea to protect yourself. So, you know, I feel you on that one, Mario. But I don't think we in fear, brother. I think we just a little cautious right now.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, guys. We are hour 15 in, guys. We want to thank everybody for watching. Got one question on my timeline that says, when starting your own business, who can you get advice from?
Who can you do what now?
When you're trying to start your own business, who can you get your advice from? Who can you get advice from?
Find somebody you know that has a business.
Say that one now.
Find somebody that you know that has a successful business that's in business. I mean, listen, we all know somebody that has a business. Right. You know what I'm saying? Find out their process and what they did. How I started my business might not be the way that you can actually start yours, but you know what I'm saying? I can give you the process to get to a certain point. Then from that point, what you've got to do is sit down, write out what it is you want to do and how you want to go about doing it and how you're going to fund it. For me, it was simple. I was working a job, in some cases 2 jobs. I'm going to use these jobs to fund my business.
Right.
It was real simple for me. Like, I'm working for somebody else, helping them make their dream, but I'm going to get mine going too. So I made it a point and I disciplined myself to take money from every time I got paid and put it toward my business, whether it was equipment or paying for insurance or building up the money I needed to get the LLC, whatever it was. I made it a point to do that. Now, that might not work for everybody, but that's what I'm saying. You just have to sit down and figure it out for yourself and how you want to go about doing it. But talk to that person that you know, man, that has a business and just pick their brain. I did it. I just sit down with people, man, and then just, hey, man, you know, when you was doing, how did you put that together? You know what I'm saying? And I know I got on folks' nerves, but hey.
You got a business.
and then too, James, I think that's is relative to what you're trying to do.
Right.
It's relative to what you're trying to do. If I have a skill, that I can monetize, I don't know if they're trying to get the license on the wall or X, Y, and Z, but like if I got a skill, and I'm just going to use this as an example. If I got a skill to sew masks, I don't need to go downtown and get a business license for that right now. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And you let one thing lead to the next. Start making your mask, and I'm using the mask thing as an example. You start making your mask out of the house and selling them to the people you know.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And the more you give it brain power, the other avenues will open up. Okay, well, this can transition into me doing this. This can transition into me doing that. You just have to get busy and find a way to monetize what you're trying to do.
Definitely.
That's the kind of business that you're starting.
And my parting thought, even on that, guys, is that at least start. Don't let fear of failure stop you. Right. Can I share something with y'all that might be looking hesitant about starting your own business? Baby, you will fail.
Right.
You will. You know what I'm saying? That everybody started anything failed. I think it's Les Brown who said it. It's like you will fail. It's going to happen, but that's a part of having a success. The part of the success is the failure part of it. And the way you know you're succeeding is because you failed.
Right.
So I want you to get past failing.
Right.
Because failing is a part of the success story. So let's get past that. All right, folks. Man, it has been a great show. Al, I'm gonna put your
email.
Hold on
1 second, Steve. Hold on. I gotta do something real quick here. I gotta plug this in, y'all. The Mukbanger short film is dropping tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Mukbanger, baby. It's a short film. My first short film. I'm proud of myself, man. We finally got it done. Listen, y'all got to check it out, man. You know,
what's it called again?
The Mukbanger.
Okay.
Mukbanger.
You know how we do it over here. You know what I'm saying?
M-U-C-K?
Huh?
M-U-C-K?
MUK.
MUK. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, MUK.
Okay.
Listen, man, it was a learning experience. Had some fun doing it, but boy, let me tell you, I'm tired. But I'm moving right on to another project. But man, y'all got to check that out, man. I'm gonna probably put it on this page too. I need everybody to check that out, man. We got to get the likes up on that thing. Go to the YouTube channel. Listen, matter of fact, y'all go to the Three Black Guys YouTube channel too, man. Y'all subscribe to that channel and share that channel out, man. We got to get the subscribers and the views up on YouTube. We're doing real good on Facebook. But we got to get that YouTube channel going, man. We got to get that subscriber count up. So y'all check that out.
YouTube. Right. It's Three Black Guys Show.
Three Black Guys Show. It's the number 3 Black Guys Show. All right. There's another out there that was called the Three Black Guys in the Mic.
That ain't us. That ain't us.
That ain't us.
You'll see my picture with my hat on, this Birmingham Barons hat on, dead center. Look for this right here.
There you go. Look for that. Look for that. Yeah. Right there. That's it right there.
Right. You just see that big head right in the middle. I mean, it's huge. You can't miss it. All right, guys. We way past time. Want to thank everybody for watching, man. We had Tracy, we had Blanche on, Erica, Mr. J, what's going on? DeLon came through, Carlton came through. My mom rolled through. Mr. Al's wife, and looked like brother Chris. McBride came on.
Chris came through.
Thank everybody. Make sure that you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're on YouTube watching us. If you're on Facebook, subscribe to the page also, man, so you can get alerted to when we come on. Three Black Guys, we're on every Sunday night at 8:30.
8:30-ish.
Yeah.
CP, baby.
CP time. We'll get in there.
Listen, y'all know we're gonna be on sometime between 8:30 and 8:45, so don't trip. Y'all know y'all at home, somewhere in that window we gonna be on, man. Don't trip.
Okay.
Sure, y'all. But put up your threes, guys. Want to appreciate you, Al. Thank you so much, man. We're gonna have you back on. All right, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, fellas.
Hold down DC for me, okay, man. Hold it down for me.
He ain't in DC no more.
Oh, we're in Jersey, baby.
Jersey. Jersey, baby. He on the other end, baby. He in Jersey.
I know, right? Oh, hey, no, but for real, man, you and your family really be careful, man. Y'all close to the epicenter.
Hey, we got masks all over the place. What color you want?
Black and gold, baby.
Yeah, we got black and gold. We got green. Hey, I got you.
All right, y'all.
I appreciate it.
All right,
guys.
Thanks, Al.